Good evening, everyone. I am going to be running through a quick patch notes of League of Legends patch 9.14. We'll also hit Team Tactics patch notes, so it's going to be a double whammy. This video is expected to be about 20 to 30 minutes long. It might be shorter. This is my first time looking at the patch notes. Appreciate anything you guys add in the comments, and let's get into it. So they're getting into a bunch of talk about stuffs, anti-healings, anti-shields, flat damage reductions, anti-mobility, some TFT, some crazy stuff. So already mid-patch, not entirely sure what that is, but okay. Buffer his ability cast properly. That's good. Okay. Some new skins. Invite pack to like mode. Oh, Blitzcrank. Tag field now removes shields on enemies before its other effects. That is pretty huge. Renekton. So like if you have like any one of them, Janna, for example, her shield's worthless. She'll shield her teammate, and then Blitzcrank will just remove it. Or Lulu, or Tahm Kench. The big one is Tahm Kench. Now Blitzcrank is a huge Tahm Kench counter. Because as soon as Tahm Kench uses his E, press R, he's done for. That's like a huge counter to Tahm Kench now. Really? They're adding a lot. Renekton too. So basically these are all nerfs to Tahm Kench, in my opinion. There are other champs that have shields. Diana nerfs, technically. So they're making more counters to these shield champs. Which, as a threes player, often, this is pretty big. Because Targons is a pretty big thing. So if you can remove the person's shield, it's pretty spicy. Katarina has bigger healing reduction on RR. Pretty spooky. Pulling in an enemy reduces all. There's a lot. Oh, Riot's going all out. By 60% for 5 seconds. Whoo, that's a huge Soraka counter right there. For 5 seconds. Literally, Kled just goes in on Soraka and she's done for. Like it was already kind of like that, but Soraka had some counterplay, but now she won't heal. That's huge. His passive has been buffed. So Fizz's passive has been buffed in majority of cases, I would say, because it's all damage reduction, so it's not just autos, it'll be all the abilities. The scaling, so versus auto attack only people, I guess it's technically a nerf, but overall I'm going to say that's a buff. Leona. So instead of, no, it now adds flat damage reduction in addition to armor and magic resist, which is pretty big. Especially in an early game, reducing 8 damage in addition to getting armor and magic resist. However, now her R no longer makes her have stronger auto attacks. I'm not entirely sure why they did that. Like, Leona wasn't really strong. She wasn't weak. She was actually in a pretty decent spot, so I don't know why they put that nerf in there. But, okay. True Sight. So, I like it and I don't like it. I don't like it because I like playing Shaco. But I do like it because I hate playing against like Vayne or something, and she just continuously goes invisible. Focus now reveals successfully rooted targets for the duration of the root. LeBlanc also, same thing. Morgana also for her ulti. Okay. That's okay. Charm. Charm now cancels in progress dashes. Okay, I like that. The bonus duration is shorter, which makes sense. It was kind of long. Now she has to use her abilities quicker. Nice. That's a nice buff. These are some nice Cassio buffs that I'm seeing. These are some nice cast. No minimum cast range on Miasma. Just short of maximum range, but there's no. Like, yeah, the max range is shorter, but that max range was kind of too long. So this is a huge buff. Yeah, this is overall, this is a huge buff to Cassiopeia. There is like some kind of nerf-like things, but overall it's a huge buff. Poppy. If Poppy stops an enemy from dashing or casting a movement ability, she grounds and slows them by 25% for 2 Whoa. 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 That's crazy. Riot went completely nuts. Aatrox no longer revives. His ulti's a little better now. Akali, she can survive poke a little better from mages, and her Q will output a little more damage. However, her stealth is no longer obscurity. It is now invisibility. So you can reveal her of 2 side effects. Whew. I don't think that includes. I heard that it included control words. As long as this is tactical and not strategic camouflage or invisibility, control words should still not reveal her. However, okay, W now restores more energy, which is pretty big, and it's a lower cooldown early on, but no longer extends. Her E now does. I'm not sure if that's less or more. I'm going to say it's more because it added an AP ratio. And then the dash also added an AP. So I'm going to say that's a buff. And her ulti's on a higher cooldown, which makes a lot of sense because it was too low. So I think these are. I'm going to call these adjustments and not a nerf or a buff. Just because they gave her more damage, I feel. Making her more able to do her assassin-y things. Alistair now will have less mana problems, which is nice. I think I might pick Alistair back up with that. Maximum stun duration. 5-second travel. So the minimum, so the max, that's a buff. Star radius growth. So he has a bigger star and a longer stun. And his E does not need to be leveled to give more movement speed. So this is absolutely a buff. And there's 0 nerf-like things in here. This is entirely a buff. We'll probably see more Aurelion Soul play with that bigger stun, making him matter more. Bard. Okay, so now with this, you'll probably not max E second anymore. You'll probably go straight to maxing W, which I really like because I actually preferred maxing. I like this. I might reinstall League of Legends. I think I'm going to reinstall League of Legends. They increased the travel speed a lot, and you don't need to level it now. I think I might. I'm gonna get back in League of Legends. That is a nice buff. Like, yes, later on, like super late game, it's not as good because 50%, but that's a nice buff. Unintended additional damage deterrence. Q speed. Okay, so this is a Diana nerf. Diana has been too strong. Her Q is now easier to dodge because it's a slower speed. And her W, once she starts maxing it, will cost more mana. Whenever service time from your application. I'm not entirely sure what that bug means. Galio now has better mana growth, which is pretty nice. He has been kind of weak, so he needs the less mana problems. No longer reduced every time Galio hits a unique enemy with an ability. But they lowered the cooldown and buff the damage. So for burst purposes, I'm gonna call this a buff. For skilled play, I'm gonna call it a nerf because you can't quickly do a second smash anymore. So for a single smash, it's a buff, but for quickly getting 2 smashes out or more, it's a nerf. Because I think before you could get a smash, 2 abilities, a smash, an ability, and then still be on a 4-second cooldown. So this is a nerf. In some sense, it's an adjustment. Q got nerfed. Yeah, so they made it. You're gonna have less mana problems, but overall this is looking like an adjustment. No way. That's a nerf. Galio cannot flash with his W anymore. That's a huge nerf. And also it can be interrupted with hard CC. Oh. I mean, they did reduce the self-slow to make it a little less. So overall, I'm going to call this a nerf. It's mostly adjustments, but it is a nerf. Because you can't get as much fast damage. And you can no longer do the flash CC, which was really good for him. Like, that is a huge thing for making picks. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Jin. That's a buff. I like that a lot. His W has been kind of weak. Yeah, he's a strong champion, but I prefer this more on his W. Lux. So now you have to Q max it. Before they removed having to upgrade Q by having it a cooldown the same all the time, but now they're reverting that. Shield is no longer OP. Yeah, Shield got a big nerf. And ult. Okay, so I'm gonna call this. I personally feel support Lux got nerfed. However, AP Lux is actually, I'm gonna say, stronger because they added her AP ratio on her ult is 33% stronger now. That is humongous. 33% stronger ultimate. I think that's 33 more. She gets 25 more damage on her ultimate per 100 AP. So she should have like 100, 200 AP. She'll get like 50 more. I think it's a buff for AP Lux. Yes, her shield's weaker, but her shield was typically, in my opinion, garbage. They made support Lux work with it. Her ultimate will now have an insane cooldown from that stupid refund thing. And her Q early on will be more outplayable. But I'm going to call this a buff overall, even though it's mostly adjustments. Ooh, that's cool. So there's some cool visual effects. Yep, lots of cool visual effects. Cool. His Q, okay. Shorter, slow on his Q. A little more movement speed. Or slow. That's good. His 4-second slow is 3 seconds is still insane, but it's a lot less crazy than 4 seconds. Okay, so what they did here is they changed his W to be like the... If you were in the event Odyssey, the Odyssey event, this is kind of like the Odyssey event with increased range and stuff. Overall, I'm gonna call it a nerf though, because now he's not getting that bonus armor anymore. So for burst purposes, for bursty Malphite, this looks like a buff. But for tanky Malphite, this looks like a nerf. Mordekaiser, nerf. Straight up nerf. Huge nerf. I'm going to call him irrelevant now. Because that's 3 to 10 less damage on his passive. And 10% less magic resist later on. So I'm going to call this... I thought he could be strong, but he wasn't really strong. Now I don't really... I don't see him being useful. Nile got a slight buff, which is nice. Pike now gets insane gold on his ultimate, and his E can now stun non-champions again, at least, which it was so stupid you couldn't stun non-champions. But now you can, so that's good. Rise. Just a tiny buff. Tiny buff. Ooh, Singe nerf. That's a Singe nerf. So before you could like press Q, press it off, press Q, like toggle it a lot. Now there's a cooldown on it. I don't know how it's gonna affect him, but this is a nerf. Swain, this looks like it might be a nerf. No. Because now he gets more soul fragments. Not more. No, this is... Oh, I remember this on the PBE. I don't... Buff. This is a buff. It's a buff because he doesn't need soul fragments to use his ultimate, and soul fragments now return mana and increase his maximum health. His Q has a shorter range, but it will always go through minions. But it does have a higher cooldown. It's an adjustment, but I'm going to call it... We'll leave it an adjustment for now, but I think it might be a buff. Okay, Silas. Buff. 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 Yep, buff. And... Nerf. Wait. I don't really understand what that means, but yes. Overall, this is a buff. Just a slight nerf in some things, like a shorter stun, and longer ulti cooldown, which was kind of needed. And you can't hold an ability as long. But overall, this is a buff. Tom Kench. Nerf. Oh, I didn't know that. Ooh! That sounds like a nerf. Huh? What does that mean? So, in a sense, it's a nerf, but in a sense, it's also a slight buff. Okay. Okay. Okay, so overall, this is a Tam Kench nerf. There are some nice adjustments, but overall, this is a Tam Kench nerf. Because he'll have a weaker, he'll be able to eat, he can E less, and it'll be less powerful. His E will be less powerful. He'll heal more from his E. However, because you get less gray health, it'll still be a nerf. And the cooldown being 3 seconds when it expires is also a nerf. It's an adjustment, but I'm going to say overall it is a nerf, even though it is an adjustment. Making out. Okay, so Urgot's W is now better, slightly. Okay, that's a huge nerf. No longer mana restores on Yumi. However, yeah, they gutted. Hold up. That's a buff. Okay, so they nerfed her because she has bigger mana problems. Without having her passive give back mana and her Q costing more mana. However, they did give a buff to Zumi's, which is her heal. So with that, I think she's still viable. It's just she's going to be less annoying to the enemy when it comes to poke. But she can heal her teammate a little more. So being an aggressive champion, she's a little worse, but I'm going to, even though this is a nerf, it's not too bad, I'm going to say. Ooh, am I reading this right? Jace buff. So it's an early game nerf slightly, but overall it's a Jace buff. Okay. Scary. Kennen now gets more bonus attack speed on his E. Passive movement speed. Nico got a nerf. Yeah, Nico got a nerf. I like that. That was kind of annoying. When I was playing against Diamonds or Challengers or whatever, that movement speed was a little too much, so I like that nerf. ARAM balance changes. With these Akali buffs they put out, this is going to be still huge because she still has a damage dealt, even though she takes more damage now. For just assassinating the person. So is this in Champ Select? So I think they added... I don't know. Whatever it is, full mute all still works, so whatever. There's a new death recap. Nice! Really? I like that. Death recap sounds awesome. Okay. Well, how big... Ooh, teamfight taxes is... Okay, we're not going Yeah, we're not. This is huge. We're not going into that. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate this. I will link the U.S. Army Esports Discord in the comments. And thanks for watching, or description. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions about these patch notes. What is your biggest thing? For me, it's the bard change. I'm going to re-download League of Legends just because of the bard change. But let me know what you think. Have a great week, and goodbye.